do my top 100 NBA player rankings now for the 2023-2024 NBA season. If you have not seen my positional rankings, I suggest you go back and watch those first before you watch this because you are going to there's going to be some spoilers in here for those videos. But yeah, let's get started here. So, my honorable mentions. I'm comparing all of my rankings to the ESPN's rankings, which were atrocious in my opinion. But yeah, that's why we're comparing here. So ESPN did not do any honorable mentions, which is fine, but I did. So I got 10 honorable mentions here. I got Cole Anthony, Jaden Ivey, Devin Vassell, Brandon Miller, Markel Fultz, Mitchell Robinson, Benedict Mathurin, Yusuf Nurkic, Onyeka Okongwu, and Amen Thompson. So as you can see here, Mitchell Robinson was the only one out of these players that ESPN had in their top 100, and they had him at 100. The rest of these honorable mentions were not on ESPN's list. So let's get into number 100. I had Derek White at 100. ESPN did not have Derek White in here. I feel like Derek White, I feel like he's top 100 player. I mean, he had a very good season last year, and he should be starting this season, which means he should have a better season this year than last year. So, yeah. Number 99, I got Buddy Hield. ESPN had him at 87. I have him at 99 mostly because, he should have a worse season than last year, I feel like, because he should be coming off the bench now because they got Bruce Brown, who they said is going to be starting over him, and Benedict Mathurin starting at the 3. So, yeah, Buddy Hield should be off the bench, which means I think he should have a slight dip in his stats, maybe. But even that, I just don't know. I think I think 99 is a good spot for him. 98, I have Malcolm Brogdon, who they have not in the top 100. I think Malcolm Brogdon's better than Buddy Hield. He's a better overall scorer than Buddy Hield, maybe a slightly worse shooter, but Brogdon's a better scorer. He's a better passer, and I just think Brogdon has, I think Brogdon is, has a better role this season. Number 97, I got Dennis Schroeder, who they did not have in their top 100 either, which is, understandable. The only reason I have him over here, over guys like Brogdon and Buddy Hield, is because of what he did in the FIBA, because he was the MVP of FIBA after leading Germany to the gold medal, which you can't you can't read too much into FIBA because it isn't the NBA, so it's a completely different game. But he still played really well there, so I felt like I had to give him his flowers for that performance. Number 96, we got Clint Capella. ESPN had him at 84. I'm a little bit lower than that. I just don't think he's going to have as good of a season as he did last year. I think Onyeka Okongwu is going to be taking up a couple more of Clint Capella's minutes this year than last year. But either way, Clint Capella is still a really solid player. I'm not going to be saying too much about all these guys because I already talked about all of these players in my previous videos. So if you want to know how I feel about these players, go back and watch those other videos because I do not really feel like repeating myself here for 100 players in one video because, my video is going to be way too long. Yeah, number 95, I got Keegan Murray, who they did not have ranked. I think he should be top 100. He had a good postseason last year, which is, something. I think, and he was a good player anyways. He should be taking a step forward this year. I think he's better than Clint Capella because, Keegan Murray, he does more than just rebound, block, and score a little bit. He rebounds a good amount. He scores a good amount of points very efficiently from the 3 as well. And he's a decent facilitator too. So, yeah. Number 94, I got Marcus Smart. I did not understand ESPN's ranking of Marcus Smart all the way at 59. I understand he's a really good defender, but his offense is just not great, and he's not a very efficient offensive player either. Especially because I think I'm doing this as a projection as a projection for this season, not just based on how they played last year. I'm doing it as a projection for this upcoming season, which ESPN they said they were too because they had Anthony Edwards like top 15 player. They said they were doing that because of how good he could be this year. So I don't see how you can see Marcus Smart as being the 59th best player this year, because I mean, yeah, I don't know. Number 93, I got D'Angelo Russell, who they did not have ranked. Um, he had a good season last year. He did not have the best postseason, which is likely why they did not have him ranked, um, because his postseason numbers were down. But I think in the regular season he was a really solid player, and I think he is going to continue to be a really solid player. Number 92, I got Robert Williams. Just 3 spots lower than they had him at 89. So it's basically the same ranking here. We got Robert Williams. He's really good, one of the best bench players in the league. We'll see. He might not be on the bench the whole time because he might be traded to a different team than the Blazers, and potentially be starting there. But if that happens, then he should be definitely has the potential to be higher than 92 on this list if he gets to be in a starting role again. At number 91, I got Wendell Carter Jr., who they did not have ranked. I think Wendell Carter's going to have a better year than Robert Williams, and they didn't. I don't know. They don't agree, I guess. But Wendell Carter is definitely going to play more minutes than Robert Williams. He should get more shots than Robert Williams. He gets more rebounds than Robert Williams, anyways. He's a better shooter outside of the paint than Robert Williams is. I just think he's a little better than Robert Williams, and they didn't have him in their top 100. So at number 90, I got Jakob Poeltl. Same thing. He's a better scorer than Robert Williams. He's a better rebounder than Robert Williams. He's a better facilitator, passer than Robert Williams. He's not as good on defense, but he's definitely not bad on defense either. So I don't know. At number 89, I got Colin Sexton, who they had at 98. I have him at 89, a little bit higher than that, because I feel like he's going to take a decent step forward this season. Jordan Clarkson last year played better than Colin Sexton. I think they're basically going to be switching roles this season. I think Colin Sexton's really good. I feel like Jordan Clarkson might still have a better season than Colin Sexton, but I just feel like Colin Sexton is going to improve still. Number 88, I got Scoot Henderson. They have him at 78. I think 88 is a pretty good spot. I have him ahead of Colin Sexton because I think Colin Sexton's probably a better scorer than Scoot, at least this season will be. But Scoot's better at everything else: defense, rebounding, passing. Probably Sexton's more of just a shooter; doesn't really pass the ball very well. I think 78 might be a little bit too high for Scoot because I think he's going to have a fairly inefficient shooting season. They probably projected him to have a little bit better shooting season than I would. But yeah, number 87, I got RJ Barrett at 87. They had him at 71. This kind of feels a little bit low, but he did not have the best postseason run last season. He did not have the most efficient season last season in the regular season in general. I think he definitely has the potential to be better, but he did not. He just needs to get his shooting numbers up a little bit. This isn't as much of a knock on RJ Barrett as it is. I just think there's so much talent in this league, and I think a lot of these players that are right ahead of him, they're just going to progress more than I see RJ Barrett progressing. I don't think RJ Barrett is going to really progress much more throughout his career, besides maybe getting a little bit better shooting percentage. 86, I got Nikola Vucevic. They have him at 75. I have him over RJ Barrett because, I think he's definitely more efficient than RJ Barrett. That's for sure. Obviously he gets more rebounds, and he's actually probably close to the same level of passer as RJ Barrett is. But the reason why I have him so much lower than they do is, I think he's just going to regress a little bit this year. I don't know if they really accounted for a lot of that. Number 85, I got Tobias Harris. He's been a really efficient player throughout his entire career, so that's why I have him over RJ Barrett and Vucevic, because I just think he's going to be a way more efficient player than them, and I got him about the same ranking as ESPN here. They had him at 83. Now this one, I got Bojan Bogdanovic at 84. they have him not ranked. He had a really good season last year, like a really good season, like a very efficient 20 plus points per game season last year. And they don't think he's a top 100 player in the league. I don't really understand that. But maybe because they project him to have a worse season this year than last season. But I mean, I don't understand that completely either, because for 2 years in a row, he's had 20 plus point really efficient seasons. So I don't really understand why you would not think he's going to do that again, just because maybe it's because Cade Cunningham's playing again, which is valid. But he did that 2 years ago when Cade Cunningham was a rookie and had a really solid season as well. Then Ozar Thompson is going to get in there and maybe take some of Bojan's touches away too, I guess. But Ozar is really not an offensive threat. He's more of a defensive threat. So Bojan should still be able to thrive offensively. 83, I got CJ McCollum. I have him almost 40 spots lower than they have. They have him at 44. I don't completely understand that. I think he's easily fourth best player on this team. I think he's worse than Ingram, Zion. I think most people will agree that he's worse than Brandon Ingram and Zion, but I think he's worse than Jonas Valanciunas too, because Jonas Valanciunas is a way more efficient player than CJ McCollum. It makes sense because he's a center, but I do believe Valanciunas probably shoots the three ball at least the same or probably better than CJ McCollum. And I project a little bit of a regression from CJ McCollum because, Zion's back, going to take some touches, and other guards like Dyson Daniels, I feel like he's going to take a little bit of a leap and take some of McCollum's minutes too. Number 82, I got Miles Turner. I mean, they have him at 65. I have him, I don't think he's quite that good. I think he is really really good player offensively. And obviously defensively as well. He doesn't really do much besides, he shoots the ball good and he blocks people good, but his rebounding is just, subpar. Number 81, I got Chet Holmgren. I have him 8 spots lower than they do. I have him ahead of Miles Turner because I feel like Chet is going to make a better impact defensively than Miles Turner this year, which is, kind of crazy to say, probably, but and I think he definitely has potential to be a good offensive player this year. Probably inefficient, but still really solid. And number 80, here's where I got Jonas Valanciunas. They had him at 99. I have him a little about 19 spots higher than that. Like I said, I have him over a guy like CJ McCollum when they're on the same team, because Valanciunas is more efficient than McCollum and better. Close to the same passer as McCollum and close to the same three-point shooter as McCollum while being a center. So that's why I got him there. Number 79 is Cam Johnson. 3 spots higher than they have him, so about the same there. He's a solid player. Could easily get 20 plus points per game this season, very efficiently too. Yeah. Number 78, I got Kyle Kuzma. They have him at 86. I have him at 78 mostly because he's just gonna, he's gonna be in an expanded role this year versus last year, because he is him and Jordan Poole are obviously the best players on this team. So he's at worst the second option on this team. Last year he was the third option behind Bradley Beal and Kristaps Porzingis. So with him getting more touches available to him this season, I think we'll have a better year. Number 77, I got Tyler Hero. They have him at 79. About the same reasons why I have him over Kyle Kuzma. A lot of it's just efficiency, because he's more efficient than Kyle Kuzma. He's a better passer than Kyle Kuzma. I think he's a better playoff performer than Kyle Kuzma. Not that Kyle Kuzma's had his opportunity to prove that, but Tyler Hero, has been good in the playoffs. Number 76, I got OG Anunoby. They had him at 67. I got him a little bit lower than that. It's not too far off. I got him over Tyler Hero, mostly because of defense. Obviously, OG's a better defender than Tyler Hero. I don't really got to explain that. Number 75, I got Immanuel Quickley. 17 spots higher than they have him. I have him over a guy like OG Anunoby because I think Quickley's offensive game is definitely better than Anunoby's offensive game. And Quickley's defense isn't too far behind Anunoby's. He's a very underrated defender. Number 72, I got Jordan Poole. just 2 spots lower than they have him, so about the same there. Reasons for having him over a guy like Emmanuel Quickly. I just think his offensive game is going to be his offensive stats are going to be insane. He could average easily 27 points per game this year, just not the most efficient 27 points per game, but just the counting stats of that is going to make him like a better player. Number 73, I got Michael Porter Jr., 5 spots lower than they had him. I think it's valid. He's a really good player. He had a good postseason run, so 73 sounds good. Number 72, I got Jalen Williams. They had him at 95, so I don't know why they had him so low, because I think he was probably a top 95 player last year. Okay, but they already said when they with their Anthony Edwards ranking at like 14, that they're basing that off of his potential for this season. So like that should mean your whole ranking is based off of projections for this upcoming season, which would make sense for reasons why they're including rookies like Scoot Henderson and Chet and Wembanyama, because you can't include those guys if you're not making a projection for this season. So I don't know why you would only have Jalen Williams at number 95, considering he was probably a top 100 player at last year, and he's clearly should be progressing. At number 71, I have Alperen Sengun, who they did not have ranked, which is crazy to me because he definitely had a top 100 season last year. Okay, and he should be improving this season. So I don't know how they didn't even have him in their top 100. That's just blasphemous to me. Number 70, I got Rudy Gobert, 6 spots lower than they had him at 64, so that's pretty solid. I have him over a guy like Alperen Sengun, clearly because efficiency and defense, right? And Gobert's just more proven than Alperen Sengun. Number 69, nice. I got Brook Lopez, who they also had at number 69. So it's a solid pick there. Me and ESPN actually agreeing on something there. We all know what Brook Lopez is. I have him over a guy like Rudy Gobert. I already explained that in my center video, so just watch that. Number 68, I got Andrew Wiggins. They had him at 54. I have him a little lower than that. Maybe that's because I think he's going to take a little bit of a dip this year. Maybe they don't think that, but the reason I think he's dipping is because they got Chris Paul, who's going to, who should, I feel like that's going to hurt Andrew Wiggins' offense a little bit, having a guy like Chris Paul. Not too much, but, and I just don't necessarily know. I don't necessarily think Andrew Wiggins is as good of a player as ESPN thinks he is. Number 67, I got Jeremy Grant, 9 spots lower than they have him. I had Jeremy Grant over a guy like Andrew Wiggins because I think Jeremy Grant is, I think his defense is better than Andrew Wiggins for sure. Their offense game is similar, and I think Jeremy Grant's better facilitator, and his defense is better facilitator. I also, it's very close, definitely. Number 66, I got Walker Kessler, just 4 spots higher than they have him. I just think he'll progress a little bit offensively this year. Maybe they don't think that. I got him over Jeremy Grant because, just because of potential for this upcoming season, basically. Yeah. Number 65, we got a guy like Tyrese Maxey. They had him at 42, which I guess that makes more sense now that the Sixers traded James Harden. But at the time of my ranking and the time of their ranking, James Harden was still on the team. So, having him at 42 doesn't make complete sense to me because, that's just, an insane potential. You're basing that off of potential a lot. You're basing a lot off of potential because there's a lot of guys that had a better season than Tyrese Maxey last year that you're going to say he's just going to magically jump to be better than them, which definitely possible, but I don't see it happening quite that much. Number 64, got a guy like Jalen Green at who they had at number 80. I had him at 64. So they had Tyrese Maxey almost 40 spots higher than Jalen Green. But I think Jalen Green's going to be better than Tyrese Maxey. I mean, Jalen Green's going to be the focal point of this offense, like he has been, but he's just going to keep improving like he has been. I think he's going to easily average 25 plus points per game fairly efficiently. Not that Tyrese Maxey can't do that, but I think Jalen Green's potential of doing that is better than Tyrese Maxey's potential of doing that. At number 63, I got Anthony Simons. They had him at 85, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me either, because I feel like Anthony Simons and a guy like Tyrese Maxey are basically in the same boat, especially now with Tyrese Maxey losing a guy like James Harden, because both Anthony Simons and Tyrese Maxey were both the secondary ball handler last season, and both had really solid seasons last season, and now are both without their primary ball handler from last season, so they are both now the primary ball handler for this season. So I feel like they should both be on a similar pathway. But I don't know why ESPN thinks they're 43 spots away from each other. Number 62, I got a guy like Chris Paul, 14 spots higher than ESPN had them, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Why they had him so low? I mean, he's still a good player. His stats might not be the best because he's getting older and he's probably not going to be playing as many minutes, but he's still a very efficient player. He still gets a very good amount of assists, has a high assist to turnover ratio. Very smart. He gets probably get like 15 points per game this year with like 7 assists, maybe 1.4 steals. Still a very positive assist to turnover ratio. He's still going to be a very good player. I don't know why they had him so low. Number 61, I got Fred VanVleet. They have him at 56, so pretty close there. I have him over a guy like Chris Paul, mostly because he's going to get a lot more touches than Chris Paul. He's going to have the freedom to shoot a lot of shots in this offense. The Rockets are going to be this season basically all offense, no defense, and Fred VanVleet is going to work very well in that system. Got Aaron Gordon at 60. He was 51. So, pretty significant gap there. Nine person gap. Not too bad, but I got him over a guy like who did I just say? Right, who is that 61? I forgot already. Fred VanVleet. I have him over a guy like Fred VanVleet mostly because of defense and efficiency reasons. Fred VanVleet is not efficient. Aaron Gordon is. Aaron Gordon plays defense. Fred VanVleet does not. So yeah. Next up, I got Middleton at 59. They had him at 46. I don't see 46 for him because he did not have the best season last year. Granted, he did not play a ton of games last year, but when he did play, he wasn't necessarily good. And he played in the playoff series. He was not good in that playoff series either. So, yeah, and I do not expect him to do great this season on the stat sheet because, of the addition of Dame. Number 58, I got Keldon Johnson, who they did not have ranked at all, which makes no sense to me because Keldon Johnson had a really good year last year, and I expect him to have a really good year this year. He definitely had a top 100 year last season, and with potential for this season, should definitely be improved over that. So I don't know how ESPN does not have him in the top 100. Doesn't make any sense to me. Number 57 is where I have Victor Wembanyama. So I think him and Keldon Johnson are going to be about right on the same level. Both 1 and 2 are on the same team. Keldon Johnson's going to be better offensively than Wemby for sure. At least efficiency-wise, for sure. Keldon Johnson can probably have 25 plus points per game. Wemby's ceiling is 20 points per game, probably. His offensive game isn't why he's on here. It's because of his defense. Obviously, we all know that. But ESPN had him ranked at 47, but they did not have Keldon Johnson ranked on here at all, which doesn't make a lot of sense because Wemby is definitely not by far the best player on this team for this upcoming season. For the potential in 3 seasons, Wemby's potential is way more than Keldon Johnson's potential. But for this season alone, they should be on about the same level. Number 56, I have Nicholas Claxton, who they did not have ranked at all either, which makes no sense to me because he probably, I don't know if he had a top 100 year last year. He was probably close to the top 100 year last year. But I think he's going to have an insane jump this year, minus KD and Kyrie for the whole season. He should get a lot more offensive looks because of that. I think his defense is going to be insane this year. I think he could be a Defensive Player of the Year finalist for sure. And yeah, I expect him to have a big improvement this year from last year. Number 55, I got Josh Giddey. They had him at 53, so about the same there. I got him over Nicholas Claxton because he does everything on offense. His defense is decent, and he does everything on offense really well. So yeah, 54, I got Austin Reeves. They had him at 66. I don't understand that. They had Josh Giddey like 13 spots higher than Austin Reeves, which doesn't make complete sense because Austin Reeves is a better scorer than Josh Giddey. He's probably a little worse rebounder and assist than Josh Giddey, but his defense about the same. He's a better scorer, a little bit of a better shooter, and I think he might outscore LeBron James this season. Number 53, I got Cade Cunningham, who they had him at 74, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me either. I think he was probably 74 after his rookie season, which was 2 years ago. He didn't really play last year, but I don't think you should be putting him at 74 for this upcoming season because I would say going into last year he was probably 74. So like at worst 74 going into last year. So I don't know why you have him at 74 going into this season because I think he's gonna have a really good season, probably close to 25 plus points per game. So like with like 8 assists, like he's a good player. Number 52, I got Scotty Barnes. They had him at 63. I got him 11 spots higher. I mean, I think he's going to have a better offensive season this year than last year. Better overall season because from his first rookie year to sophomore year, he did not have an improvement, but he was stagnant, which is, not horrible. But I do expect an improvement this year. So, yeah. Number 51, I got Klay Thompson. They had him at 41. I have him a little bit lower than that. Maybe partially because, I think Chris Paul is going to, not make Klay as good, maybe. I think Klay is going to regress a little bit because he's getting older, right? For 50, I got Julius Randle. They have 45. I have him over Klay Thompson because I think Julius Randle is currently who definitely will score more points per game than Klay, just because he gets more shots and stuff. Klay's more efficient for sure, but Julius Randle will score more. He will get more rebounds. He probably will get more assists or close to the same. And Julius Randle is better on defense. Okay, and with that, I am going to take a bathroom break. I do not have a way to pause the video and resume it the way I have to because my app doesn't work. Okay, I'm back. I guess my pause button did work. I tried it earlier a while ago and it didn't work, so I didn't know if it was going to work this time. So I was just going to, just leave my video running in silence, but, my pause button worked, so that's good. Number 49, we got DeAndre Ayton. They have him at the same spot. So I have him over Julius Randle because I think he'll have a very much improved role this season over last year. So with that, he should have a better season than last year. Number 48, I have Zach LaVine. They have him at 38. I mean, I don't hate that. I feel like he could be a little bit higher. I just don't. His defense isn't great. His rebounding isn't great. His assists aren't great. It's mostly he's a very good scorer. He's a really good scorer, and he's very efficient at that too. But nothing else is really great. It's all decent, but nothing else in his game is really great. Number 47, I got Desmond Bane. They have him at 61. I don't know why they have him so low because I think he probably was the 61st best player last season. But I think he should improve this season. And without John Morant playing 25 games, he should have a significantly improved role in those games. So I think with that, he should be higher than they have him. I have him over Zach LaVine because of what I said. He should he's also a really good scorer like Zach LaVine, a really efficient scorer like Zach LaVine. But his defense is better than Zach LaVine. So yeah. Number 46, I got Brandon Ingram. They had him at 27. I don't know why they have him at 27. 27 seems way too high for Brandon Ingram. Like, I don't know. I mean, 27 is basically like I don't know. I don't know. I'm at 46. I think 46 is more fair because like he's good on offense. He's decent rebounder, decent assist, decent on defense. But like I think he's a really good player still. But like I don't see number 27 the best player. Um, yeah, in his field. I just don't see that. Number 45, I got Franz Wagner. They have about 52. I got 45, just a little bit higher. I think he'll have a really good season this year. 25 plus points per game average for Franz Wagner this year. He's a very efficient shooter too, so that's why I got him over like Ingram. I think he's more efficient than Brandon Ingram. I think he'll probably average more points this season than Brandon Ingram. Definitely more rebounds and assists this year than Brandon Ingram. Yeah. Number 44, I got Bradley Beal. They have him at 37. I got 44, so we're fairly close there. I got him over a guy like Brandon Ingram and Franz Wagner because I think he's definitely going to be more efficient than Franz Wagner and Brandon Ingram. His assists are going to be higher than both of those two guys as well. His rebounds, probably going to be a little bit low, but his defensive stats are going to be a little low. But he's just going to be a very, very efficient. Maybe not a high-scoring player this season because of his role now, but still, he's going to be probably the most efficient player, averaging under 25 points a game. So, yeah. Number 43, I got Jared Allen. They have him at 50. I got 43. I think that's pretty solid. He's a really good defender, a really good inside scorer. Really good rim protector. Solid rebounder as well. So, yeah, I think he's a really good player. And number 42, I got DeMar DeRozan. They got 39, so we're pretty close there. But they had him right under Zach LaVine. I got him a few spots ahead of Zach LaVine. I think he's better at rebounding than Zach LaVine, better at defense than Zach LaVine. They're about the same level of overall score. Zach LaVine is more efficient from 3. I think DeRozan's definitely more efficient from 2. And, the rebounding, I said DeRozan's a little better there, and their passing is probably about the same. So they're definitely close to the same player. I think DeRozan, just a few spots ahead of Zach LaVine there. Number 41, I got Evan Mobley. They had him at 40, 41, pretty solid there. Basically the same thing. I have him over a guy like DeMar DeRozan because his defense is definitely better than DeMar DeRozan. I think he will be all defensive team this year, defensive player of the year candidate for sure. I also think he will have a significantly improved offensive game this season, potentially 20 plus points per game, but probably closer to about 16 to 18 points per game. Which is still really solid, and he's definitely going to have an efficient game this year, I think, on the offensive end. At number 40, I got Paolo Banchero. They had him at 30. I don't think he's quite that high yet. He was just a rookie last year. He had a good rookie season, okay, but I think it definitely will improve from that rookie season again this year. But I think his rookie season probably top 60 player, and get from top 60 to top 40 in your next year is a pretty good jump. And then the year after that, maybe he can get in the top 25 players. But I don't see number 30 for him quite yet. Number 39, I got LaMelo Ball. They had him at 48. I feel like part of why they had him at 48 is because of injury stuff, which definitely makes sense for me. But I just got to put him a little bit higher than that because he is so good when he's on the court. Which granted is not as much as it should be, but he's a really, really good player. Number 38, I got Jrue Holiday. They had him at 26. I don't see Jrue Holiday as a top 26 player in the league right now. 2 years ago, maybe. Right now, definitely not. He's definitely a really good player, really good defender. He's primarily efficient on the offensive end. Doesn't shoot the ball a ton, but he's usually efficient when he does shoot it. He's a good passer, decent rebounder, great defender. I just don't think he's going to be top 26 player. I got Mikal Bridges at 37. They had him at 33, so we're pretty close there. I got him over a guy like Jrue Holiday, because I feel like he's going to be in a featured role in this offense. Jrue Holiday is not. clearly. So Mikal Bridges' offensive numbers across the board, besides assists, um, should be significantly better than Drew Holiday. His rebounds will be more than Drew Holiday. I feel like his defense is right there on the same level as Drew Holiday as well. So yeah. I got Bam at 36. They had him at 16. 16 makes no sense for Bam. Bam is not a top 16 player in the league. He's definitely one of the better players in the league, but he's not like I don't know. He's definitely not the 16th best player in the league. Okay, that just doesn't make sense to me. Maybe they're just looking at his advanced stats like per 100 possession, offensive rating, um, and defensive rating and stuff, because those numbers are going to be really good. Because they're usually inflated for centers a lot of times, which, not to knock on Bam, but that's just the way it is. Centers will look really good in offensive and defensive rating, while as a guard will not look so good in those ratings, but they can still be just as good. But yeah, I got him at 20 spots lower. Yeah, I got Garland at 35. They had him at 36, so we're basically the same there. I have him over Bam. He's obviously Garland's a better scorer than Bam. Okay, he's a better shooter than Bam, obviously. He's a better passer than Bam, obviously. He's a worse rebounder, obviously. He's a worse defender, Obviously, we know Bam's a better defender, but I just think Garland's offensive game just outweighs Bam's defensive game. Just slightly. They're definitely right there neck and neck with each other, but I gave Garland the slight edge. Got Jaylen Brown at 34. They had him at 19. I don't think he's top 19 player in the league. A lot of that because his playoffs last year was not very good at all. He was not a good player in the playoffs last year. It's just that. That's a lot of why I have him so low. Also, he will likely take a statistical drop this year, adding Kristaps and Drew Holiday. So, yeah. Number 33, I got DeJounte Murray, who they had at 60. I got 33 for DeJounte. I think, him versus Jaylen Brown. DeJounte they're probably average the same amount of points per game this season. Right about 25 points. Both of them probably average right about 25 points a game this year. DeJounte Murray will average more points, more assists than Jaylen Brown this season. He'll probably average more rebounds than Jaylen Brown this season. He'll definitely shoot better from the field. Maybe a little bit worse from three, but better from the field than Jaylen Brown. His defense is better than Jaylen Brown too. So I don't know, definitely at least on the same level, if not better. So I don't know why they had them 41 spots apart. Number 32, I got Zion. They had him at 57. 57 just seems very low for Zion. I know a lot of that has to be due to injury concerns and stuff, which I'm still taking into account because healthy Zion's a top 20 player in the league. I just did not want to drop him 40 spots because of injuries, okay? I thought 32 was a decent drop there. Number 31, I got Kristaps, who they had at 62. I had 31, okay? I don't understand putting him at 62 because he was most certainly a top 40 player in the league last season, okay? At the absolute minimum, he was a top 40 player in the league last year. So I don't understand why you would think he's going to magically get 20 spots worse after being put in a better situation. I don't think his stats are going to drop from last year versus this year, even though he's surrounded by more talent, because he is going to get a lot of open looks this season because of the talent around him. At number 30, I got Lauri Markkanen, 2 spots lower than they did at 28, so, about the same there. I got him over Kristaps, mostly because, he's going to be shooting more shots than Kristaps. He's going to average more points than Kristaps. Roughly the same shooting percentages, I would assume. But, yeah, Markkanen is definitely going to average more points. And, Markkanen's a better passer, probably. Porzingis is probably a better rebounder and defender. But, they're very close. I'm going to give the edge to Markkanen. At number 29, I got Trae Young. I agreed 100% with ESPN on this one. So I got Young over a guy like Lauri Markkanen because I think Young's going to average 30 points and 10 assists a game this season. So, that's better than what Lauri Markkanen is going to do this year. Number 28, I got Domantas Sabonis. They had him at 22. I think 22 is a little bit high, but, it's not crazy. But Yeah, I think he's definitely a really good player. I have him over a guy like Trae Young. I mean, yeah, Young is going to score more and get more assists and probably be more efficient too. But Domantas Sabonis is really efficient as well in his own regard. He's going to average 20 plus points, probably like 6, 7 assists as a center is really good. Double-digit rebounds is really good. So, you know, and he played good in the playoffs last year. Trae Young didn't play in the playoffs last year, but he did good when Trae Young was in the playoffs before. But we'll see. At number 27, I got De'Aaron Fox right here. So they had De'Aaron Fox one spot below Sabonis. I have him one spot ahead of Sabonis. I think he's better than Sabonis. He's going to average more points. He's going to average more assists. Probably average less rebounds, but he's definitely a better scorer, better defender than Sabonis as well. So I don't understand why they had Sabonis ahead of Fox. Number 26, I got Jamal Murray. They had him at 17. 17's a bit high. I know his playoff run was insane, but 17's still high. Like, you can't expect him to do what he did in the playoffs all season long, okay? That's not happening. I got him over Fox because, they're both roughly the same level of offensive player. Murray is definitely more efficient. Probably a worse passer, but a better rebounder, and he's pretty solid on defense as well, although his counting stats on defense might not show that. I got Pascal at 25. ESPN had him at 25, so we're agreeing a little bit more here once it comes to the top. I got him over a guy like Jamal Murray, mostly because of defense. His defense is significantly better than Jamal Murray's. Number 24 is where I put Ja Morant. They had him at 35. Part of why you had him at 35 is definitely has to be linked to his 25-game suspension. But, I would still probably rather take, 55 games of Ja Morant over, what you're going to expect out of a guy. Who do I have here? Pascal Siakam? Yeah. I'd rather take 55 games of Ja Morant over, you don't expect 82 games out of anybody. You expect maybe 75 games out of somebody. So I'll take 50 games with Ja over 75 games of Pascal Siakam. I just think he's that on a different tier. Siakam will elevate your team that much more, even in less games. So yeah, at number 23, I got Jaren Jackson Jr., who they had at 31. I think he's better than that. I think part of that is because he's going to, when Ja's not playing for 25 games, Jaren Jackson's going to be in a much more highlighted role on offense. And he won Defensive Player of the Year last year. So I expect him to be really good on defense again this year. So, yeah. Number 22 is where I put Cat. They had him at 20, about the same there. I got him over Jaren Jackson because he's definitely way better on offense. He's way more efficient, scores more points, more assists, about the same on rebounds. So his defense is worse, but his offense is much better. Number 21, I got Paul George. They had him at 18, about the same there. And I had him over Cat, because of his defense. These guys are both really good offensive players, but Paul George is a better defender. Number 20, I got Jalen Brunson. They had him at 32. 32 is low for me. Jalen Brunson had a really, really good season last year. I think, was he an All-NBA team last year? I felt like he was the All-NBA third team guard last year. I could be mistaken, but I feel like he was. So if he was that, or if he wasn't even close to being an All-NBA point guard last year, I don't know why you have him so low, because he did really good in the playoffs too as well. So a guy like Jaylen Brown, who I had low and was an All-NBA player last year, he sucked in the playoffs. Jalen Brunson was an All-NBA level player last year, and he did really good in the playoffs. So I feel like that you should have him pretty high. Number 19 is where I put James Harden. They had him at 43. 43 seems criminally low for a guy like James Harden. James Harden, could easily average 23, 10, and 7 this year. Okay? You're going to say that's the 43rd best player in the league because he's going to do it efficiently. So, I don't understand why you think he's so low. Just because he's a cancer in the locker room does not mean he's a bad player. Number 18, I got Tyrese Halliburton. They had him at 21, so we're about the same there. I got him over James Harden because, he's going to score more points than James Harden is this season on average. They're going to be about the same on assists, and Tyrese Halliburton's a little bit of a better defender as well, so and probably more efficient. Number 17 is where I got Anthony Edwards. They had him at 13, so we're pretty close there. I got him a little bit lower, but I still think he's going to have an All-NBA caliber season this year. I got him over Tyrese Halliburton because I think he'll probably average 30 points per game. And he's a better defender than Halliburton and a better rebounder, probably close, about the same rebounder. But yeah. Number 16, I got Kyrie Irving. They had him at 34. So again, like James Harden, just because you are a bad locker room, just because you're a locker room cancer or whatever, does not mean you're a bad NBA player. Like Kyrie Irving averaged nearly 30 points per game last year. So like efficiently and a lot of assists. Okay, so I don't know why you have him so low. Number 15, we both had Donovan Mitchell. So, we agree there. I think he'll probably average 30 points per game this year. When you average 30 points per game, you're basically a lock to be a top 15 player. Number 14, I got Kawhi Leonard. Then I got 24. I got 14. They'd probably have him that low because of injury history as well. I do expect Kawhi to play more games this year than he has in the recent years. I think he'll probably get to close to 60 games, which is, that's pretty solid. When he does play, he's definitely one of the best players in the league still on both sides of the ball. Number 13, I got LeBron James. They have him at 9. I don't think he's a top 10 player anymore. Like, I don't really think. I mean, obviously there is an argument to be made for like the next 3 guys I'm going to name off for LeBron to be better than, but I just don't understand how you can actually think that they are going to have a better season. That LeBron's going to have a better season than those guys because he's in his 21st season. He's not going to be playing as many games or as many minutes. He's going to, his numbers are going to go down a little bit. You got number 12, me like a guy like Jimmy Butler at number 12. Like Jimmy Butler this season is going to have very similar stats to LeBron James on offense across the board with points, rebounds, and assists. Jimmy will probably average more points than LeBron this year. Okay? LeBron might be more efficient from the field. Jimmy Butler will likely be more efficient from 3 and definitely more efficient from free throw. And Jimmy Butler will be better on defense this year than LeBron. A guy like Anthony Davis at 11, who they had one spot below LeBron James. Anthony Davis is going to lead that team in points. He's going to lead that team in rebounds. He's going to lead that team in steals too, probably, and blocks. So, LeBron might lead that team in assists. That's the only category LeBron's going to lead the team in this year. Assists and turnovers, but it doesn't really count. So, I think Anthony Davis is going to be better than LeBron James this year. Number 10 is Jason Tatum. They have him at 6. I think 6 is high. I think it's definitely a possibility, but I think it's high. I think he could average 30 points per game this season. I don't think he's really going to because, they got so many guys on their team. But he's definitely going to be close to 30, at least 28 points. Probably not quite 30, but, right on the edge. Number 9, I got Damian Lillard. They had him at 14. I have him at 9. I don't understand why you have him at 14. I think he had a top 10 season last year. I mean, he didn't really play a lot of games last year. So let's go back 2 years ago. I think 2 years ago he had a top 10 season in the league. Okay, then he has a year where he doesn't play as many games, but he still was really good in the games that he played. And then coming into this season, he should have so many more open looks than he did because he has Giannis on his team. So I feel like he should have a better season now than last season, and maybe even the season before that. At least a more efficient season in both of those years because he should have more open looks. So number 8, I got Devin Booker, who they had at 11. So I got Devin Booker over guys like LeBron and AD, who they had over Devin Booker. I got him over those guys and over a guy like Damian Lillard because I think Booker will average 30 points per game. A very efficient 30 points per game with a solid amount of 6 to 7 assists. Decent amount of rebounds, decent defense. I think he's going to play really good and be an All-NBA first team potentially this season. Number 7, I got Shea Gilgeous-Alexander one spot ahead of where ESPN had him at 8. So, I think he's going to be really good. He'll probably be All-NBA first team caliber at least. All-NBA second team at worst, basically you know, along with a guy like Devin Booker. So, but yeah, Shea Gilgeous 7 over Devin Booker because he's better at defense. That's basically the debate there between Shea and Booker is that Shea's better at defense. Number 6, you kind of already seen it, but yeah, I got Joel Embiid at 6. They have him at 3. He had a top 3 season last year for sure, but obviously he won MVP, so you got to have a top 3 season to win MVP, right? But I don't think he's going to be quite as good last year as he was, or quite as good this year as he was last year because I feel like he might have been trying extra hard last season because he got snubbed, or he felt he got snubbed 2 years in a row from being MVP. So he was like, yeah, frick all you guys. I'm going to win MVP this year. But I don't think he's going to go all out in the regular season this year, which is probably a good thing because, that didn't really lead to postseason success anyways. So, yeah. Number 5, I got KD. I still have him being better than Devin Booker. Some people think that's a debate. I'm not completely sold on that being a debate right now. Kevin Durant will probably average 30 points a game as well as Devin Booker, but he'll probably do it more efficiently than Devin Booker, even though both of them will be very efficient. So that's why I think the Suns' offense is going to be very, very good because they have Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant, who are all really efficient players. So it's going to be really scary to defend all of them when they're playing together, which we still have not seen happen yet. Number 4, I got Stephen Curry. They had him at 5. I got him at 4 here. I mean, I got him over a guy like KD because I think Curry will probably, average close to 30 points a game as well, really efficiently as well. Probably good 6 rebounds and 6 assists. It's really hard to debate between guys that are all this good, but yeah, I think, they're all going to have really great seasons. I just think Curry's slightly better than Kevin Durant. At number 3, I got Luka Doncic. They had him at 4. I have him at 3. I have him over Curry. I do think Luka very well might average a triple-double this year. It's Luka. He's a really, really good player, obviously. He's obviously one of the best players in the league. He's not the most efficient player in the league, but he makes up for that by being a triple-double monster. So, yeah. Number 2, I have Giannis Antetokounmpo at 2. They have him at 1, which I can't be too upset with, but, it's all right. So I have him at 2 over a guy like Luka because, defense, basically, because Luka doesn't really play defense. Giannis plays really, really good defense. So, yeah. But then number 1, we all know who it is now. Nikola Jokic at 1. They had him at 2. I have him at 1 over Giannis because, he had the best season last year. I think he should have won MVP last year, okay? And he by far had the best postseason run of any player last year. Devin Booker was really close to that too, but he didn't. He played one series, so I'm not going to completely count that. But yeah, Nikola Jokic played really, really well all of last season, and I don't see any reason for him to not do the exact same thing this season. So yeah. Now we got into these are people who I had ranked and ESPN did not have ranked. So I had Nicholas Claxton ranked 56, Keldon Johnson ranked 58, and they didn't have those guys in at all, which is stupid. I got Alperen Sengun at 71, Bojan Bogdanovic at 84. They didn't have those guys in at all either, which I thought was stupid. Now, these next guys, I think it's understandable for ESPN to not have in there. Guys like Jakob Poeltl, Wendell Carter, D'Angelo Russell, Keegan Murray, Dennis Schroeder, Malcolm Brogdon, and Derek White. You can see those guys, were within 10 spots of my top 100. So, they weren't necessarily, solidified into my top 100. So I'm not too upset that ESPN did not have those guys in there. It is just guys like Nicholas Claxton and Keldon Johnson and Alprince and Boone. Like, I don't know how you guys did not have them in there, but yeah. Now, people that ESPN had ranked that I did not have ranked was Harrison Barnes, who they had 96. So, I mean, they barely had him ranked. I just didn't think Harrison Barnes was, I know he's a really good player, but he's just not that good player. Guy like John Collins, they had at 90. I just don't know. I'm not sure if he's going to have as good of a season with Utah as he did at Atlanta. Draymond Green at 55. I just don't think Draymond Green's that good of a player anymore. So I don't really understand why they had him at 55 still. That's just freaking stupid, honestly. Josh Hart, they had at 91. I had him unranked. I think he's a really good player. He did good in FIBA ball too, but just I don't see any potential for Josh Hart to be better this season than he was last season. And a lot of guys that I would have ranked ahead of him that ESPN had, I'm ranking ahead of Josh Hart because of their potential to be better this season than they were last year. I gotta get through this quick. So Bobby Portis, they had him at 81. I did not have him in mind. I thought he was a really good player, but I don't think he's a top 100 player. He's pretty close to there, but just not quite in my opinion. They had Jordan Clarkson at 77. I did not understand that. I don't think he had a top 100 year last year. Okay, I don't think he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be worse this year than last year. Because a lot of the other guys on his team are younger than him, so they're going to develop, and he's basically flatlined. He's a really good scorer, but that's about it. So I don't think he's a top 100 player because of that. Next is Russell Westbrook. They had at 94. I did not have Russell Westbrook in my top 100, which that will anger some people, but me personally, I know he's a really good player, okay, but his efficiency struggles, his turnovers struggles. He's getting older, so just regression, right? And with Kawhi and Paul George playing most of the season, I'm assuming they both play at least 60 games this season. With them doing that, Russell Westbrook's numbers are going to dip from what they were last year too. So yeah, they had Kevon Looney at 88. I just don't see Kevon Looney as a top 100 player at all in any aspect. So that's just dumb. It's because his offensive and defensive ratings are really, 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 really good. So that's why they had him up there. But like I said earlier, centers' offensive and defensive ratings tend to be very inflated because, especially with guys like Kevon Looney, who shoots the ball 4 times a game, just happens to make it 3 of the times because it's all layups and dunks he's shooting. It makes his offensive rating look really good. A guy like Mike Conley, they had 93. I had him not ranked. I just think he's not going to be as good this year as he was last year due to, Cat playing more, younger guys stepping up, and, he's just old and regressing. And then a guy like Grant Williams there at 97, I did not have him ranked. Why is Grant Williams ranked in the top 100 in the first place? I don't understand that at all. So, okay, yes, that is all I have. If you did not watch my other videos, my point guard to center rankings and my bench rankings, I told you to watch that before watching this video, but if you did not watch those, please go do that. I also, have my weekly NBA and NFL power ranking videos, so you should watch those videos as well.